No, the perfect result for you to start the campaign.
Yeah, we're just after the win, Tom, and so not the perfect performance, but perfect result. Yeah.
Took about 20 minutes, I feel, before they got into the rhythm.
Yeah, I think we were pretty charged up, ready to go, and just probably a little bit edgy, and turned the ball over a lot of unforced errors. So once we get that under control, I think we started to get a bit of a flow and some good periods were put together. So it's a good effort.
Were you happy with the lead at half-time, given that breeze was quite stiff?
Yeah, the guys came in and they weren't too concerned about the wind and thought that they could get some dead air up the grandstand and keep it going. So I suppose we were just happy with any lead at any time, and 11 points was enough to try and build on in the second half.
Were you sitting comfortable with that nice last try that hit the 34-point mark and a very handy lead at that stage?
Yeah, a little bit, but the delay in play there for that poor fella who got knocked out wouldn't have helped us at all. But we just wanted to take the kick off and put the pressure back on them. We don't want to give the opposition too much ball, and we certainly gave them an opportunity to get a point out of it, but some good guts in the end.
What about the set piece? Again, they put some pressure on, but you responded well.
Yeah. Again, I mean, that's why I suppose it's part of the perfect result, because we scored some lovely tries, put some good play together, and yet didn't have everything going 100% right yet, and so that gives us good stuff to work on, which is all in our control. And if we can get some of that right, then that should allow us to put more pressure on the opposition.
A lot of guys on debut really at this level, and good to see them, most of them, just if not all, did something to remember.
Yeah, look, I think we've got a group of really good players, and to be totally honest, I wasn't even aware of who's played one game, and I know Cabbage and Whopper have played over 100, but we just picked the side that we thought could do the job and play what we wanted to play against Bay of Plenty, and honestly didn't even look at whether they'd played none, 1 or 50 or whatever.
And handy you have a goal kicker that slots him from 50 metres when you need to.
Geez, it was a massive kick, wasn't it? He backed himself in, struck it beautifully, and then the other one in the second half into the wind as well from about 40 and on an angle. That was a huge kick for us just to keep them at bay. So he certainly did very well for us there.
And I thought those players were super experienced, stepped up today and led by example.
Yep. I think they certainly did. They've been great since they came back 2 weeks ago, and we've been building to this. And I mean that's what we were trying to target. This is the first competition game, and it's a pretty happy group, and even slightly happier now.
And a happy coach, I say.
Yeah, happy coach. Yeah, pretty happy with that, and we'll work on what we need to work on. We'll start that work tomorrow, but we'll just shake hands and be happy with our efforts now.
Nasty injuries there to add to your pain.
Yeah, well, look, we've had a great pre-season in that regard, and the squad came through really well. But today, Teddy Stanaway knocked to the head, and he didn't look too good there for a while. And Samasoni looks like he might have dislocated his ankle. So yeah, no, it's not what we want, but that's what you have squads for.
I thought you started well, turned over a lot of ball at breakdown, and looked promising.
I think the start of the game, both teams turned over a lot of ball. We got it and we didn't always hang on to it, and they were the same. And both teams were pretty disruptive, and set piece was a bit messy. But we just got to probably stick to our systems a bit more and have a little bit more patience and just keep building that pressure. Sometimes we're trying to force those little passes. We don't want to take that away from the boys, but we sort of make sure that a few more of those stick.
What about the kicking game in these conditions? Were you happy with that?
I think second half, we really wanted to play more territory, and we probably tried to just play a little bit too much, and in that middle of the paddock when we really need to get right down there and put the pressure on them in the 22. So that's probably an area we've got to work on. But I think they're a bit exuberant. A couple of young boys out there want to have a crack.
Did the guys think the wind was worth much? Because it was quite strong up at times.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The wind, we thought the wind would help, and certainly when we got down there in the second half, we did get some points, and we always knew the odd penalty would be on offer. So yeah, the wind was a factor, but I think Southland stretched us late in that first half, going side to side with the paddock, and got outside us a few times and putting us under a bit of pressure, and they got some penalties and a try out of that, and probably that part of the game for them was the key.
And on a positive note, you scored a couple of tries and didn't give up towards the end. There was always a bit of heart there.
Oh look, we're a fit side, and the boys are they're young and they're just coming together as a group, but they represent with real pride, and we'll play for 80 every week.
And that's not an easy start, the campaign. Come down here, not the rest of the conditions today. So it was a true test of their ticker.
It didn't exactly turn the weather on. We flew in yesterday. We saw a lot of puddles. But everyone plays in the same conditions, both teams, and both teams were there to play, and both teams had their opportunities, and they took them a bit better than us. But we're back on the horse next week against Tasman.
Well, was it hard to get back into NPC mode?
Yeah, it was. It took me a couple of weeks. I had a little bit of a break, about a week off, and then it was good to get a little bit of a hit out versus Otago, and I was just blowing out all the cobwebs. In the first 20 minutes, my lungs were screaming at me, but it was good to get back out there.
Seemed to take the first quarter of the game before the guys sort of gelled.
I think so, yeah. It's first week. Even last night when we watched the Taranaki game, it kind of seemed like that for pretty much the whole game. There's a lot of things for us to work on, but I think every week it's going to get better and better.
With the variations to the law interpretations of the new ones, did you feel the game flowed any differently?
Yeah, it was a little bit different. I think they were hurrying us up at line-outs and scrum times, which is probably a bit better, and it seemed to flow a little bit better. But I think it's still, both teams can help to make that a little bit easier on the ref.
What about that set piece of scrum in particular? Was it tit for tat? Do you think you got on top of them in the end?
It was about 50-50. I think they had the better scrum in the first half, and then we started to come back in the second half. And the ball was a bit messy at the back, though. I think it was just we haven't done heaps on our scrum, so hopefully next week it's going to be a lot better.
It was good to get control of the game into that second half, wasn't it? I felt you got on top perhaps halfway through that second half.
Yeah, it did. It was good to actually be in the lead and try and control the game instead of chasing the game. I think we might have let it slip in the last 10 minutes. They scored that quick try, and then they started putting us under pressure. But the last 2 minutes was good defence from the boys.
Yeah, there's a couple of little softish tries that they gave away, didn't it? But that's just perhaps communication on defence?
Yeah, I think it's just working through our systems. We've got a right system. It's just applying it during the game. It seemed like we sometimes strayed from it, and then if we stick to the system, we're going to go real well.
Important to take this form on the road now that you've set this foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Back up to North Harbour. Hopefully it's nice and sunny up there, but who knows? It's quite a hard ground to play at, and North Harbour will be hissing.
Well, Cardiff, it must be nice to feel back in maroon, or maroon and white as it is now.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back and playing alongside the boys. So my fourth season now. I'm used to it, and now it's good to be back out on the field and getting some game time.
You didn't get a lot of game time with the Hurricanes, but the experience up there must have been terrific for you.
Yeah, like a lot of people were giving me grief about why aren't you playing and stuff, but it didn't really bother me. I was sort of soaking it up and just enjoying being able to rub shoulders every day with the likes of Conrad Smith and Julian Sauvé and all of that. So took all that I learned and bring back down here and hopefully put it back into the rest of the season.
And you played a bit of club footy up there, and it's a good standard.
Yeah, sort of similar back to Auckland, so sort of felt like I was playing back up in Auckland, but no, it's good standard. It's good run around to local club derby up there in Wellington.
Lots of new names in the back line this year from what you played for last year, but you seem to click quite quickly.
Yeah, Jackman, got our two Island boys on the wing, so no, it's good to have those people come in and add, and just being able to click. It's good, just to run off those guys and sort of guys that you can depend on and trust. So yeah.
How difficult were the conditions today? Because that wind seemed to be sort of fickle up and down.
Yeah, the first half wasn't too bad. It was the second half we got out there and I sort of felt the wind brushing back on us a bit. And so other than that, it was sweet. I thought we dealt with it perfectly, so yeah. And
in defence, I thought you worked quite well, fanned out, shut most moves down.
Yeah, so we've been working on. That's been probably one of our main focuses, just to sort of read D's a bit earlier and shut them down. So I thought the boys did a good job, and something that we're going to work to, and hopefully I'll get to perfection later on in the season.
Tell us about that last try. It was beautifully executed. It was a practice move or just instinctive for you? No,
it was sort of funny because seeing Willis break like he usually does, and I was hoping that I'll run off him, and then Taylor got the ball, and then I called for it, and as I got it, all I remember was seeing the money on the side, and I thought I was going to get booked. And I just heard Junior screaming, and just put it to the boot, and it just bounced. So it was good, eh?
It was one of those days where those sort of things came off in tricky conditions.
Yeah, so I guess we got the rub of the green at the end of the day, and it worked for us, and we'll bank that one and go into next week humming.
It is important to get off to a start, a winning start in this competition. It's quite a short competition.
Yeah, compared to the previous years, we haven't sort of really had the good starts that we've been wanting to, but I thought we got off to a good start tonight, and we're building on something, and hopefully we can build on that throughout the season.